Let's see if we can actually fix this thing. G'day everybody and welcome back. We're not in the garage, we're in my workshop at work. It's a little low budget workshop, but it's just me in here, and except for at the moment I've got a couple of electricians helping me bring a few things up to a standard, which is why I've got all this electrical offal on the ground behind me. Anyway, all that aside, last episode you may remember we had an issue. The reason why this fuel tap would have been leaking, there's a hole or a groove down through across the ports where the fuel can track, and what I want to try and do is actually repair it. Now, Michael Hawley, thanks mate, you reached out and said you probably got a tap lying around at home somewhere, and other people have made a few suggestions as well. The reason that we're doing all this is to try a few things and see if we can resurrect parts without having to just nut and bolt replace everything. So what I'm going to try and do, as I mentioned in the previous episode, there's not enough material here to go and put it in a lathe and machine it. So, and being pot metal, I don't have an AC/DC TIG welder. So I can't weld aluminium, but I'm going to try and use an aluminium brazing rod. So let's get it all prepped and see if we can't make that work. So why am I here in the workshop? It was just easier for me to bring a couple of things here than to take stuff home and leave something at work. So I just brought what I needed to bring here, and I can, if I need something that I don't have at home, I can just grab it. So that's why I'm here today. So first thing I'm going to do is actually make these a little bit bigger. So I'm going to use a use a die grinder and just machine a little bit out of that to give it a bit more volume there, to put the brazing rod in and make sure that we've got a clean surface without impurities. Alrighty. Alright, I've never done this before. I've never tried this before, so this is going to be a new one. I've got it sitting on this brick here to help try and have something that won't work as a heat sink. Now the idea is that this aluminium one is a Burnzomatic. Burnzomatic? Yeah, Burnzomatic. I think Lumi Weld, and there's other brands as well, but they must have some sort of a flux and aluminium in them. So the idea is that you heat the thing up that you want to weld until such time as the rod melts onto it, and it's 700 and something degrees. I'm starting to really damage this, and we haven't got it to the point where it's starting to blister and crack and deform and melt, but the rod's not going on it yet. We may end up destroying it. It's made a real mess of it. This may not be that successful, guys. Probably the execution What we got there is a big dollop of aluminium. So let's just let that air cool and we'll see whether or not we can't save it. A couple of different files here. I'm just going to try and a little more coarse. I don't recommend not using a handle with files, so do as I say, not as I do. Right, we're starting to get close because we are touching metal everywhere. I'm going to put it on a flat block now and try and sand it down. Emery cloth to start with. It's not a bad day out there today. I got a few comments about the Kangol woolen cap I was wearing in the last video. Thank you for all the kind comments about the cap. The reason I was wearing it was actually quite a cool day. Well, I think it was about 7 or 8 degrees Celsius in the garage, and my head was cold. I don't have enough thermal protection up top anymore. Wasn't always the case. This was me in the 80s. This was me in the 90s. This is me now. We all get old. Alright, we're just about down to it now. We've got a tiny little bit there, but I think I'll keep going on the coarser stuff until I get a bit more surface there. I didn't have anything like a sheet of glass. It's you know, really nice and flat. I've got this bit of thick piece of nylon here, which I know is reasonably flat. So I'm using it. It's about the only thing I've got that's any good. This paper's not wide enough to do it properly, but you should do like a figure 8 to try and make sure that you don't wear in one spot, like just go back and forward like that. Just make sure you get an even, you apply it to the surface evenly. Because petrol will track through the tiniest of gaps. That's why this thing was leaking. I think we're beyond it. It's very, very thin in a lot of areas, and it's a lot of cracks on that. I don't know that that's going to bother it, but I'll keep going. It seems, just trying to see where. Yeah, there's not much material left there. It was almost like the melting point of this was lower than the melting point of the brazing rod. There are a few different wet and dries here, so we might just put a bit of wet medium on there. This is 320 or something. 320. Very porous, very thin there, very thin all the way around except where it melted down a bit here, and there's bubbles, there's holes in that there. Go to 600 and try that. Oh, so where did we end up? Alright, so yes, we've been able to bridge that successfully using a brazing rod, a aluminium brazing rod, but I think we've taken way too much material off with the file, because it just seemed to blister up and curl the edges up, and I've had to file them flat. There's also a fair bit of porosity around the edge here. There is a seal, but you know, I don't know whether or not it's, sorry, there is a clean surface adjacent to where it seals. Don't even know if it's still round. There's a big dollop there. It even swelled the that outside diameter. Oh, did it? Yeah, it did. Can't even get that in there. All right, I've got it sort of flat, and it now fits in here. So this thing has slumped. As soon as it got hot, it just slumped. It wasn't. It's not aluminium. I mean, there's obviously a lot of zinc, probably magnesium. Now, if I push that down against that seal and blow in it, it still leaks. That's prime. It should go through there. Reserve. All right, let's just stick a seal in there and see if it helps. Still leaking. If I can blow through it, you definitely get petrol through it. I wonder if I put the new diaphragm in the back of it. I know, I haven't cleaned it, but I'm not worried about that at the moment. Just want to see if we can get this to work. If we can, then I'll give it a good clean, strip it all apart and clean it properly. It's actually not too bad, because it feels like it's, if I'm blowing in the air, I think it's overcoming, I think the air pressure is overcoming that little spring. May not be all over Red Rover. Because of course it's blowing down that way, not back this way. So it might not be a lost cause yet. Only one way to find out, and that's plug it in the tank and put some fuel in it. There's no, I mean, I haven't put the seal on here or anything yet. Oh, it's in here, let's do it. Let's just do it. Bit deformed around there, where that section really tried to melt down. Yeah, I might. No, pop him off. Not too big. It's just a little bit of silicone grease, a little bit of release agent. Try and get that seal in there. Hope I've got it up the right way. I'll check later. Being a lip type seal, you normally put that to the side that you're trying to retain. In this case, petrol. It's a struggle. Can't get it to go in, and I think it's because the whole thing, the groove and everything, just swelled. I'm going to put it down as a failed attempt, but at least we tried, right? But yeah, I'm not happy with it. I think I'll just need to go and find another one. So I'm on the hunt now for another fuel tap. Just even trying to put that shroud over the top of it. It's the whole thing is swollen and absolutely not worth a knob of goat poop. Oh well, you know, we won't die wondering, and at least we gave it a go. I could spend a lot more time trying to re-establish that groove and do it all with a hand file, but to be frank, I think you know, we're potentially going to create more problems than what we're solving. So I'm going to call it off there. But yeah, at least we tried. You know, that's what this is all about. But I think I'll go on the hunt for a new tap. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll catch you next time on Andy's Motorcycle Obsessions, and hopefully we'll have a bit more of a success story in the next bit that we try and attempt on the GS1000. Bye for now.